What if the simplest machine in your garage could add years to your life? Not a supplement, not a $1,500 gym membership, just two wheels, a chain, and about 30 minutes of your day. Researchers who have tracked hundreds of thousands of people for decades keep finding the same thing. People who cycle regularly tend to live longer, get sick less often, and hold on to their independence later in life. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what the science says, what it doesn't say, and how you can use this information starting today. Hey, welcome back. Today we're digging into a question a lot of us have wondered about at some point, usually while stuck in traffic watching a cyclist glide past every single car. Can cycling help you live longer? It's a fair question, and it deserves a fair answer. Not hype, not fear-mongering, just a clear look at what long-term research actually suggests. We're going to cover heart health, mobility as you age, mental well-being, and overall quality of life. We'll also talk honestly about the limits of this research, because no single habit is a magic bullet. So grab your water bottle, and let's get into it. Let's start with the organ that benefits the most, obviously from cycling: your heart. Large population studies, including work published in journals like the British Medical Journal, have followed commuters over many years and compared people who cycle to work against those who drive or take public transit. The pattern that keeps showing up is a meaningfully lower rate of cardiovascular disease among regular cyclists. That includes lower rates of heart attacks and lower rates of dying from heart-related causes over the study period. Here's why that makes physiological sense. Cycling is an aerobic activity, which means it asks your heart to pump more blood more efficiently over a sustained period. Over time, this kind of repeated demand strengthens the heart muscle itself, improves the elasticity of your blood vessels, and helps regulate blood pressure. It also tends to improve your cholesterol profile, nudging down the LDL, often called the bad cholesterol, while supporting healthier HDL levels. What's especially interesting is that researchers aren't just seeing benefits in people who train for triathlons. Studies on everyday commuter cycling, the kind where someone rides 20 or 30 minutes to work a few times a week, show measurable improvements. You don't need to be an athlete. You need consistency. Now let's talk about something that matters just as much as living longer, and that's living well. Nobody wants extra years if those years come with pain, stiffness, and a loss of independence. This is where cycling has a genuinely underrated advantage. It's low impact. Unlike running, cycling doesn't pound your joints against pavement with every stride. Your body weight is supported by the saddle, which means your knees, hips, and ankles absorb far less repetitive stress. For people managing arthritis or recovering from certain injuries, doctors and physical therapists often recommend cycling specifically because it keeps joints moving through a full range of motion without the jarring impact of higher-impact activities. Research on older adults who cycle regularly points to better balance, stronger leg muscles, and slower decline in functional mobility compared to sedentary peers. Strong legs matter more than people realize. Leg strength is one of the better predictors of how independently someone can move through daily life in their 70s and 80s. Things like climbing stairs, standing up from a chair, or simply walking without assistance. Cycling, especially when it includes some hills or resistance, builds and preserves exactly that kind of strength. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. The benefits of cycling aren't just physical. There's a growing body of research connecting regular aerobic exercise, cycling included, to better cognitive function as we age. Some studies suggest that people who exercise regularly show a slower rate of decline in memory and processing speed compared to those who don't. There are a few theories about why. Aerobic exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which helps deliver oxygen and nutrients more efficiently. It's also been linked to the growth of new connections between brain cells in areas associated with memory. On top of the biology, there's a simpler explanation too. Riding a bike, especially outdoors, involves navigation, balance, and quick decision-making, all of which keep your brain actively engaged in a way that passive activities simply don't. And let's not overlook mental health. Regular cyclists frequently report lower levels of stress and anxiety. Some of that is the exercise itself, since physical activity triggers the release of endorphins. But there's also something to be said for the rhythm of pedaling, the fresh air, and the sense of accomplishment that comes from covering real distance under your own power. Quick pause here. If you're finding this useful, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this kind of research-based content reach more people instead of the usual noise. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, because we're building a whole series exploring how everyday habits stack up against the actual science. Okay, let's keep going, because there's more to this story. Let's talk metabolism. Regular cycling burns a meaningful number of calories depending on intensity and duration. But the real story isn't just about calories in versus calories out. Consistent aerobic exercise like cycling improves how your body handles blood sugar. It increases insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells respond more efficiently when insulin tells them to absorb glucose from your bloodstream. This matters enormously for long-term health, because poor blood sugar regulation over many years is linked to a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Several long-term cohort studies have found that people who commute by bike have a lower risk of developing diabetes compared to those who commute by car, even after researchers adjusted for other lifestyle factors. Cycling also tends to support healthier body composition over time, not through crash results, but through sustainable, repeatable activity. Because it's low impact, people are more likely to actually stick with it for years, rather than burning out after a few intense weeks. And when it comes to metabolic health, consistency over years tends to matter more than intensity over weeks. So let's bring this back to the original question. Does cycling actually help you live longer? The honest answer is that the research strongly suggests an association between regular cycling and reduced mortality risk, particularly from cardiovascular disease. Some large-scale studies estimate that regular cyclists have a notably lower risk of early death compared to non-cyclists, even after adjusting for other health factors. But here's the important caveat, and it's one that gets glossed over too often. Association is not the same as proof of direct cause and effect for every individual. People who choose to cycle regularly may also tend to eat differently, smoke less, or have other healthy habits that contribute to their longevity. Researchers do their best to account for these variables statistically, but no observational study can fully isolate cycling as the single cause. What we can say with real confidence is this: cycling is a safe, accessible, joint-friendly form of aerobic exercise that checks nearly every box public health experts look for when they talk about habits that support a longer, healthier life. It supports your heart, your joints, your brain, your metabolism, and your mental well-being, all at once. That combination is rare, and it's exactly why so many researchers and physicians recommend it. If you're thinking about starting, the research suggests you don't need to go far or fast. Consistency beats intensity. A 20-minute ride a few times a week, done consistently for years, appears to offer real measurable benefits. That's a genuinely achievable goal for most people, which might be the most encouraging finding of all. It's also worth mentioning who this might matter most for. If you're someone who has struggled with high-impact exercise because of joint pain, cycling offers a way back into regular movement without the setbacks that running or heavy training sometimes bring. If you're managing early signs of high blood pressure or borderline blood sugar levels, the kind of moderate aerobic activity cycling provides is often exactly what physicians recommend as a first step before anything more intensive. And if you're simply looking for a form of exercise you can still enjoy decades from now, cycling tends to remain accessible well into older age in a way that many higher-impact sports don't. None of this means cycling is risk-free. Road safety matters, a properly fitted helmet matters, and anyone with underlying heart conditions should get medical clearance before starting an exercise program. But when it comes to weighing the evidence, the balance tips clearly in favor of cycling as one of the smarter, more sustainable investments you can make in your long-term health. So, can cycling help you live longer? Based on what decades of research suggests, The answer leans strongly toward yes, especially when it comes to heart health, mobility, and quality of life as you age. Of course, this video is for educational purposes, and it's always worth talking to your doctor before starting any new exercise routine, especially if you have existing health conditions. If this video helped you see cycling in a new light, do me a favor and subscribe, because we've got more evidence-based deep dives coming on the everyday habits that actually move the needle for your health. Drop a comment and let me know, do you already cycle? Or is this the nudge you needed to dust off that bike in the garage? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.